Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, dark forest. Behind you lies the noise and chaos of a life filled with doubt and self-criticism. Ahead, an uncertain path waits, silent, mysterious, yet pulsing with the promise of something new. You feel it deep in your bones, a restless yearning for freedom, for peace, for love, that starts within. But something holds you back, an invisible weight, heavier than you can name. It's the nagging voice that whispers you are never enough. The relentless doubt that clouds your every thought, a toxic companion you've carried so long, it's become part of you. Yet, the truth is this: quitting that toxic thought is the single most powerful act you can take to finally love yourself. This audiobook is not about quick fixes or empty platitudes. It's about unveiling the Gen 1 toxic thing, poisoning your heart, and learning to set it free. This is your invitation to stop the inner war and discover the tender, unstoppable love that has been waiting patiently inside you all along. Chapter 1. Recognizing the silent poison. Have you ever noticed how quietly some thoughts creep into your mind? Like shadows moving in the half-light, barely noticed but always there. They wrap around your heart with cold fingers, whispering things you never wanted to hear about yourself. You're not enough. You don't deserve love. You'll never be successful. These words aren't spoken aloud, yet their impact resounds in every decision you make, every relationship you hold, every moment you hesitate to step fully into your life. This quiet, relentless voice, that relentless critic inside, this is the Gen 1 toxic thing standing between you and the love you so deeply crave. It's not a loud enemy that leaps out with fury. No, it is a silent poison that distorts your truth from the inside out. The most dangerous enemy is often the one that hides in plain sight, disguised as logic, reason, or just being realistic. But make no mistake, this toxic self-talk is a lie dressed in the familiar garments of your own mind. You might be thinking, is it really that simple? Just quitting this one thing, the toxic voice inside, and suddenly I'll love myself. It's natural to doubt. After all, that voice has been your shadow companion for years, maybe decades, but it's important to see this clearly. What you call your inner critic is not your friend. It has no wisdom. Its purpose is not protection. It exists to keep you trapped in a cycle of fear, shame, and separation from others. Yes, but most devastatingly, from yourself. To begin transformation, you must first recognize this silent poison for what it truly is. Recognize it not as a messenger of truth, but as a carrier of fear and pain. Only then can you choose to stop feeding it, stop believing it, and start nurturing the gentle voice inside that says, you are worthy. This toxic self-belief wears many masks. Sometimes it sounds like harsh judgment. You messed up again. Other times it sneaks in as doubt. Who are you to think you can succeed? Or shame. You're not lovable. And often it masquerades as responsibility or self-discipline, fooling you into thinking you're being tough on yourself for your own good. But beneath every mask is the same root: unacknowledged pain and self-rejection. The tragedy of this poison is how deeply it shapes your self-view. Without your conscious awareness, it becomes the lens through which you experience life, a filter that distorts your achievements into failures, your kindness into weakness, your dreams into foolish fantasies. Imagine carrying a heavy, invisible backpack filled with sharp stones. Every step forward is slowed by this burden. You might even stumble and fall, thinking you lack balance or strength. But the truth is, the weight you bear isn't yours to carry. It's been picked up silently, over time, from voices that told you who you should be, from harsh experiences that branded your soul. This burden isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of your survival. You are not your thoughts. This is not just a mantra but a lifeline. Your mind can be a wild forest of ideas and emotions, some poisonous, some nourishing. Toxic thoughts are only one kind of tree in that forest. The first step on this journey is to see them clearly, to name them, and then to separate yourself from them. This chapter is about awakening to that harsh truth, and the beautiful liberation that awareness brings. Awareness is not judgment. It is simply the act of seeing without distortion. When you become aware of the toxic voice inside, you reclaim your power. You step outside the storm and stand in the calm eye, where choice lives. You might be wondering how to cultivate this awareness. It begins with simple, honest observation. Notice when your thoughts become critical or harsh. Notice when your heart sinks beneath the weight of those internal condemnations. Notice when you shrink from your own reflection in the mirror, when you avoid opportunities because you've already judged yourself unworthy. This practice of noticing is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, the shapes that scared you reveal themselves as shadows you can move beyond. It's the first gift you give yourself, the gift of seeing with clarity instead of being blindfolded by self-doubt. And here's a truth you must hold close. Your toxic thoughts are not facts. They are echoes from a past that doesn't serve your present. They are old stories told by a frightened part of your mind, not the whole story of who you are. You have more power than you realize, the power to rewrite these stories, to tell yourself a new narrative. This is the foundation of the entire journey ahead. Quitting the silent poison is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about rejecting the lie that imperfection makes you unworthy. It is the profound realization that loving yourself begins by refusing to believe the cruel judgments your mind repeats. So now, with your eyes wide open, you are ready to dig deeper, to understand how these toxic beliefs were born, why they hold such grip, and how to begin the painful, beautiful work of release. The path forward unfolds from this moment of clarity. The next chapter will take you back to the roots, where those toxic beliefs first took seed, and by understanding their source, you will be able to loosen their hold. Prepare yourself to unearth truths that might surprise you, to rethink what you believed about yourself, and to begin healing those very wounds with courage and grace. You've faced the silent poison today. You've shone light on the shadow. The journey away from toxicity toward genuine self-love is opening before you now, step by step, moment by moment. Turn the page gently and step boldly into what comes next. Chapter 2. The Origins of Toxic Self-Belief. There is an eerie truth about the roots of our deepest self-doubt. They often begin in places we barely remember, places wrapped in silence. Picture a young child standing alone in a room where voices rise and fall, words spoken that ripple through the walls but never explain themselves. That child listens, absorbs, shapes a fragile sense of self from echoes and shadows. Sometimes, those echoes carry messages of unworthiness, shame, or fear. And those shadows, no matter how faint, plant seeds of toxic belief that grow long before we learn to speak the language of love. Understanding where this silent poison began is not an exercise in blame. It is an act of compassionate curiosity. It unearths the lost pieces of your story and sheds light on why certain thoughts became so loud inside you. For many, these toxic seeds were planted by voices of authority that should have instead nurtured and protected. Perhaps it was a critical parent, an unspoken family rule, or a culture that defined your value by impossible standards. Sometimes the origin is less obvious: a glance, a neglect, the absence of affection that leaves a child feeling invisible. Maybe there were moments of trauma, harsh words hidden beneath well-meaning protection, or the painful weight of unmet expectations. Whatever the source, these early imprints carve deep grooves in your mind, repeating over and over like a broken record. You're not enough, you are a problem, or you must fix yourself before you are lovable. These beliefs are echoes, not your truth, but because they were learned so early, before you developed tools to discern them, they became the foundation of how you see yourself. This is why toxic self-belief feels so undeniable, so permanent. It was woven into your sense of identity, mistaking pain for reality. Think for a moment about the child you once were. That child is still within you, waiting for acknowledgement and kindness. The accident of your beginnings, the wounds you did not deserve, created the fertile ground for toxic beliefs to take root. Yet, within this same truth lies a profound possibility. Healing begins when you recognize that these beliefs are borrowed. They do not belong to your true self. This chapter invites you to look gently at your past, not with judgment, but with the intention to understand. Understanding breaks the grip of unconscious repetition. It transforms the shadows into stories that can be rewritten. The wounds that seeded your toxic beliefs were never yours to carry alone. You are not the sum of what was said about you or the silent judgments you absorbed. In coming to terms with these origins, you reclaim your narrative. You discover that the toxic voice inside, though loud, was never the core of who you really are. Beneath the noise, your true nature shines, a being worthy of love, just as you are. Imagine for a moment the power of shifting your perspective on these inherited beliefs. What if you began to see them as old memories, distorted reflections of others' pain, rather than facts about yourself? This shift is the beginning of freedom, the first true breath of self-love taking root. As you reflect, consider this. Every toxic belief that grips you now was, at its root, an attempt to keep you safe. Fear whispered lies in your ear, trying to shield you from harm, but at a tremendous cost. The child you were had no choice but to believe those lies. But now, as the adult you have become, you hold the power to release them. The process is delicate and profound. It calls for patience, courage, and radical self-compassion. By tracing the origins of your toxic self-beliefs, you prepare your heart for the next step, confronting the lie of perfection, the false standard that fuels so many of these damaging thoughts. You will learn to see how the impossible pursuit of perfection feeds the toxic voice, keeping you trapped in relentless self-judgment. But before you can dismantle this lie, you must first understand how it grew from the soil of your early experiences, nurtured by unseen fears and unmet needs. Trust in this journey. Each insight you gain about your past is a lantern lighting the path forward. You are not alone in this. Many have walked before you and found their way out of the dark forest of toxic belief. You too can find your way. And so, as this chapter closes, hold a quiet promise to yourself, to be gentle with your story, to honor the child within who once struggled, and to welcome the healing that comes with knowing the truth behind the poison. The next chapter awaits, where we will step boldly into the myth of perfection and learn to free ourselves from its cruel chains. This is where healing grows stronger and love begins to bloom. Turn this page with openness and courage. The journey is only just unfolding. Chapter 3: The Lie of Perfection. Perfection promises safety. It whispers that if you can just be flawless, just right, you will be worthy, loved, accepted. This siren call is seductive and relentless, wrapping itself around your heart with golden threads. But here is the brutal truth. Perfection is a lie, not just a harmless illusion, but a cage that imprisons your soul and suffocates your capacity to love yourself. Imagine a crystal so clear, so precise, that every imperfection must be hidden, every flaw erased. This is the myth of perfection. It demands you bend and break in endless attempts to fit a standard that does not exist except in your mind and the expectations of others. It tells you, if only you were perfect, you wouldn't feel pain, you wouldn't be rejected, you would finally be enough. But perfection is a mirage, a desert illusion that draws you deeper into loneliness and self-loathing. It masks fear as discipline and shame as motivation. This belief keeps you trapped in a cycle, always chasing, never arriving. No achievement, no milestone, no compliment will ever fill that void because the goalpost is constantly moving. At the heart of this lie lies a misunderstanding about what it means to be human. To be human is to be beautifully flawed, uniquely messy, and wonderfully imperfect. It is the cracks and scars that carry the light of experience and resilience. Perfection ignores this essential truth. It demands that you paint over your story, your wounds, your triumphs, with a smooth, brittle veneer. Consider the cost of chasing perfection. How many moments of joy have you sacrificed because you feared making a mistake? How many relationships have you strained by expecting yourself to be unbreakable? How often have you silenced your own voice, ashamed of your true thoughts and feelings because they didn't fit the perfect mold? This chapter invites you to meet the lie of perfection head-on, to expose its false promises and understand why it thrives in the soil of your toxic self-belief. Perfection isn't just a standard, it's a shadow that masquerades as your greatest ally, but is actually your most cunning enemy. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who spent years climbing relentless mountains of achievement, accolades, and approval. She looked perfect to the outside world, but inside she was crumbling. The pressure of perfection made her forget who she really was, her kindness, her humor, her vulnerability. One day she realized that no amount of success could replace the love she withheld from herself. Her awakening came when she allowed herself to fail, to be imperfect, to be real, and only then did she taste the freedom of self-acceptance. You too are invited to this freedom, to understand that perfection is a mask hiding your true value. Your worth is not measured by flawless achievements or impeccable appearances. It is measured by the courage it takes to be authentically you, fierce and tender, broken and whole. The lie of perfection fuels toxic self-talk by blaming you for being human. It convinces you that mistakes are disasters, failures are irreversible, and vulnerability is weakness. But what if mistakes were simply lessons? What if failures were signposts on your path? What if vulnerability were the doorway to connection and love? This shift in perspective is not easy. It asks you to unlearn years of conditioning. It challenges the cultural myths that say you must be strong, perfect, and invincible to be loved. But underneath those myths lies a richer truth. Self-love grows not in the soil of perfection, but in the messy, beautiful garden of imperfection. Your journey to quit toxic self-belief begins with this radical embrace of imperfection. It's about softening your standards, not to give up or become careless, but to recognize your humanity as the foundation of your worth. Approach yourself today with the same tenderness you would offer to a child, learning to walk, falling and rising. Trust that your value is not something to be earned by achievement, but something you were born with, eternal and unshakable. As you carry this understanding forward, notice when the voice of perfection speaks in your mind. Hear it without fear or resistance. Gently remind yourself that perfection is not your compass. Vulnerability, courage, and authenticity are your true guides. The next chapter invites you to explore this inner voice further, the voice that speaks without words but shapes so much of your being. You will learn how to listen to the subtle language of your emotions and body, discovering new ways to interrupt the cycle of toxic self-talk before it takes hold. Hold this thought close. Perfection is a shadow you can step out of, a mirage you can walk past. Behind it lies your true self, imperfect, radiant, and worthy of love. Turn the page now, and step toward the voice that waits patiently inside you, the voice ready to lead you home. Chapter 4. The voice that speaks without words. There is a language deeper than words, a silent conversation that unfolds beneath the surface of your thoughts. This language speaks in trembling muscles, in a tightening chest, in a sinking stomach. It whispers through your tears, your restlessness, your quiet moments of numbness. It's the voice of your emotions and body, often overlooked, yet profoundly honest, revealing truths your mind tries to hide. Imagine walking through a dense forest. You're surrounded by silence, except for the rustling leaves underfoot, the sudden snap of a twig, the faintest whisper of the wind. The forest speaks to you, not in human language, but through sensations and signs. So too does your inner world communicate, not always through words, but through feelings and sensations that are just as real, just as urgent. This chapter is an invitation to listen, to truly listen, to the voice that often goes unnoticed, the one beneath the flood of thoughts and self-judgment. For this voice holds the key to interrupting the cycle of toxic self-talk before it takes hold. It is a hidden dialogue between your mind and your body, a subtle pulse that, when heard, can guide you back to compassion and healing. Toxic thoughts rarely arrive fully formed out of nowhere. They often begin as subtle signals, a tightness in your chest when you think of yourself, a hollow ache in your belly when you remember a painful moment, a heaviness in your limbs that weighs you down without explanation. These sensations are an early warning system, the body's way of flagging danger when the mind's critical voice stirs. Have you ever noticed how, before a wave of harsh self-judgment consumes you, your whole body reacts? You may feel your breath catch or your muscles tense. Sometimes you close off, feel detached, as if watching yourself from outside. These signals are not random. They are the body's language telling a deeper story, demanding your attention. When you learn to recognize and honor these non-verbal cues, you shift from being a passive victim of toxic thoughts to an active participant in your healing. Mindfulness of your bodily sensations becomes a powerful tool, helping you catch the toxic voice at its earliest stage, before it spirals into full-blown self-criticism. This practice is not just about awareness, it's about presence, being fully in the moment with your experience, whatever it may be. Instead of pushing away discomfort or rushing to change it, you gently lean in and ask, what is my body feeling right now? What is it trying to tell me? This simple, radical act invites a new relationship with yourself, one of curiosity and kindness rather than judgment. Consider the power of naming what you feel. If you feel anxious, name it. If you feel ashamed, say it inwardly, rather than letting nameless sensations fester in the dark corners of your mind. Shining a light on them gives them less power to control you. It begins a conversation grounded in truth, not fear. Real change happens, not when you silence the voices of pain, but when you listen with compassion and act lovingly in response. Your body is not the enemy. It is your ally, carrying wisdom from years of experience, signaling your needs in ways that words sometimes cannot. By embracing this voice without words, you start to interrupt the automatic patterns of toxic self-talk. You create space where harsh judgments can dissolve, replaced by soothing presence and care. This is a profound step toward quitting the silent poison that undermines your self-love. Let's reflect on how this works in everyday moments. When you catch yourself sinking into negativity, pause and tune into your physical experience. Feel your breath. Notice tension or relaxation. Detect the rhythm of your heart. This moment of presence is a moment of power, a crack in the armor of toxicity through which healing can flow. As you cultivate this skill, you will find you are less swept away by stormy thoughts. Instead, you become a steady harbor, allowing feelings to come and go without losing your sense of worth. Your inner world begins to feel safer, more trustworthy, and, most importantly, more loving. This chapter's journey is an invitation to trust the quiet language of your body and emotions. It calls you to develop a new sensitivity, one that honors your whole self, mind, body, and heart, as you walk away from toxic self-belief. The next chapter will explore how these inner shifts ripple outward into your relationships, illuminating the vital connection between self-love and the way you relate to others. You will discover how healing begins, not in isolation but in the shared spaces between hearts. Hold this thought close. The voice without words is never silent. It is patiently waiting for you to listen, to understand, and to respond with love. When you answer that call, you begin to heal the deepest wounds and step closer to the self-love you deserve. Turn the page now and walk into the light of connection, where your inner world meets the outer, and new possibilities for love emerge. Chapter 5. The Mirror of Relationships. Look closely at the people you hold close, the family, friends, lovers, colleagues, and even those fleeting encounters that still ripple through your mind. These connections are not just happenstance, they are mirrors reflecting parts of you. They reveal layers of your inner world, especially the state of your self-love or its absence. The toxic beliefs nested inside your heart rarely stay locked away. They reach outward and shape your experiences with others. When you carry self-doubt, shame, or unworthiness within, these feelings weave themselves into the patterns of your relationships. They influence how you trust, how you open up, and how you respond to love and conflict. Imagine two mirrors facing each other, each reflecting the other infinitely. Your relationships are like those mirrors, showing you reflections of your own self-image. If you look with clarity, you begin to see not just who the other person is, but how your own inner voice has shaped the story you're living with them. This chapter invites you to explore the profound connection between self-love and your relationships. It reveals how toxic self-beliefs distort your ability to connect authentically, and how they can create invisible barriers to intimacy and trust. Consider this: when you believe you are unworthy of love, you might unconsciously push people away. You may question their intentions, fear abandonment, or settle for less than you deserve, simply because your inner voice has told you this is all you can have. Conversely, when you nurture your self-love, your relationships begin to blossom with openness, vulnerability, and genuine connection. Think of a garden thriving between you and another person. This garden needs tending with care, honesty, respect, and kindness. But its soil is enriched most deeply by your own self-love. Without it, the garden struggles. Weeds of insecurity and jealousy take root, choking the beauty that could flourish. Many of us have experienced relationships that echo our inner wounds, relationships that reflect the very toxicity we want to escape. You might find yourself drawn repeatedly to people who confirm your fears or trigger painful memories. These patterns are not fate. They are invitations for healing, calls to look inward and break the cycle. Healing your relationship with yourself creates ripples in your outer world. It changes the dynamics with those around you. You begin to set healthy boundaries, not from fear or rejection, but from a place of respect for your worth. You attract people who honor your true self, and you learn to receive love without suspicion or self-sabotage. Let's look deeper at boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates you choose to open or close. They protect your energy and signal what you will accept in your life. When toxic self-belief blurs your sense of boundaries, you may find yourself overstretched, taking on others' pain, or staying in relationships that diminish you. Cultivating self-love clarifies where your limits lie and empowers you to stand firm. Imagine standing in a room full of people. With healthy self-love, you feel rooted, grounded in your worth. You can engage fully without fear of being overlooked or overwhelmed. This presence shifts your relationships from struggle to freedom, from fear to joy. Yet, this transformation requires remembering that no relationship is perfect. Loving yourself doesn't mean expecting perfection from others or yourself. It means embracing complexity and choosing love in spite of flaws. It means learning to forgive, not to excuse harm, but to release the poisoned grip of resentment that feeds toxic self-talk. This chapter shows you that the way you relate to others is the way you relate to yourself in action. Every kindness you extend outward, every moment of honest vulnerability, is a step toward healing your own heart. Every act of self-respect you practice shapes how others honor you. As you reflect on your relationships, ask yourself, which connections nurture my self-love? Which ones challenge or drain it? How do my beliefs about myself show up in the ways I love and allow others to love me? These questions are not easy, but they are essential. They unlock the door to a new way of being, one where your experience of love is deeply rooted in the acceptance and value you give yourself. The journey ahead continues in the next chapter, where you will learn to reclaim your inner narrative. You will discover practical, transformative ways to rewrite the stories you tell yourself. The stories that either nurture your self-love or weaken it. This will be a powerful tool for breaking free from toxic patterns and stepping into the loving voice that deserves to be heard. Hold this truth close. Your relationships are reflections, teachers, and gateways. They are mirrors showing the dance between your inner world and the outer life you create. By healing yourself from the inside, you change everything outside. Turn the page now and prepare to meet the deepest voice inside, the one that holds the pen to your story and waits patiently for you to write it with love. Chapter 6. Reclaiming your inner narrative. Every day, countless stories unfold inside your mind, like a movie you watch over and over again. These stories, the narration of your life, shape how you see yourself and the world around you. They whisper truths, shape your emotions, and steer your choices. Yet many of these narratives are born from old wounds, toxic beliefs, and fears that no longer serve you. The good news is this: you hold the pen. You are the author of your inner story, and reclaiming this power is the key to transforming your relationship with yourself. Imagine your mind as a grand library. Within its vast shelves sit books filled with memories and self-judgments, tales of failure, rejection, and not enough. These old volumes have been read so often, their pages worn and dog-eared, that you believe them without question. But what if you could write new chapters? Fill blank pages with stories rooted in kindness, courage, and acceptance. This chapter is about stepping into that author's seat with intention and courage. It's about recognizing that the toxic inner voice, so familiar and persistent, is only part of your narrative, not the whole truth. By reclaiming your inner narrative, you begin rewriting from a place of compassion and power, shifting your identity from victim of your thoughts to creator of your reality. Let's look closer at how these internal stories form. From childhood, you absorbed messages, spoken or silent, about who you are. Some were nurturing, many were critical. Over time, these messages crystallized into beliefs that felt undeniable. I must be perfect to be loved. I am not worthy of kindness. I will always fail. These beliefs shaped an internal dialogue that plays non-stop, often without your conscious permission. Becoming aware of this internal script is the foundation of change. Awareness means catching yourself in the moment the old story arises, when your mind delivers that familiar critique or doubt. At that moment you have a choice to believe the story or to question it. Learning to question the story is an act of rebellion and self-love. One powerful way to reclaim your narrative is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts allows you to see them clearly, stripping away the fog of emotion to reveal their nature. When you capture a harsh thought on paper, you can hold it up to the light and ask, is this true? Is this kind? Does this serve me? Often, you'll discover these toxic stories are exaggerated, distorted, or simply outright false. Another transformative tool is the practice of affirmations, not the empty cliches, but deep, truthful statements that resonate with your heart. For example, I am enough just as I am worthy of love and joy, or I have the strength to grow beyond my fears. Repeat these affirmations not as magic spells, but as seeds you plant daily to cultivate a loving inner landscape. Mindful reframing is yet another path. When a negative thought enters, pause and gently reframe it. If you think I am a failure, reframe to I learned something valuable from this experience. This simple shift opens space for growth and softens the grip of toxicity. Consider a moment when self-criticism overwhelms you. Instead of drowning in that tide, imagine sitting with a wise, compassionate friend, the voice inside that embodies acceptance and encouragement. That friend speaks truth and warmth. Calling on this inner ally during moments of doubt rewires your narrative from judgment to empowerment. Reclaiming your narrative also means embracing your whole story, including past scars and mistakes. Your story is not just a series of failures or flaws. It is a complex, beautiful tapestry of resilience, lessons, and triumphs. When you honor this full story, you build a foundation for genuine self-love. Think of the stories you tell yourself as soil. Toxic beliefs are weeds choking growth, but you have the power to cultivate new seeds, stories of love, strength, and possibility. This is a daily practice, a commitment to gentle self-talk and sincere reflection. Embracing this author role requires patience and courage. You may find old stories clinging stubbornly, resisting change. Expect setbacks without judgment. Each time you return to kindness, you reinforce new neural pathways, strengthening your loving narrative. Notice how changing your inner story ripples outward. When you speak kindly to yourself, your actions reflect that kindness. You make choices aligned with your worth. You speak your truth and allow others to see the real you. This transformation grounds your path away from toxicity and toward freedom. As this chapter closes, hold this profound realization close. Your inner narrative is not fixed. It is fluid, alive, and waiting for your creative touch. You have the power to shift from self-sabotage to self-support, from doubt to confidence, from loneliness to connection. The next chapter will invite you into the profound practice of radical forgiveness, a necessary step in releasing the toxic beliefs deeply entwined with pain from your past. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it is liberation. It clears space for love, healing, and growth. Turn this page with bravery and hope. Your story is yours to rewrite, and the most beautiful chapters are still to come. Chapter 7. The Practice of Radical Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a word heavy with emotion, often misunderstood, seldom embraced fully. It is one of the most challenging gifts you can give yourself, yet it holds the extraordinary power to set your heart free from chains you may not even realize you're carrying. Before love can fully blossom within, forgiveness must clear the ground where toxic self-beliefs took root. Imagine carrying a worn stone in your hand. It's heavy, sharp, and cold. You clutch it because it's familiar, even though it hurts you. This stone is your pain, your anger, your memories of betrayal, rejection, or harm. Radical forgiveness invites you to gently open your hand, slowly release the stone, and feel the weight lift. Not because you forget or dismiss what happened, but because you choose liberation over captivity. The core of radical forgiveness is both simple and profound. Forgiving does not mean excusing the pain or denying what was done. Rather, it means no longer allowing that pain to define you or poison your present. Forgiveness is the courageous act of reclaiming your power and peace, no matter how deep the wounds. To begin, turn your gaze inward. Who in your life do you need to forgive? Perhaps it's someone who hurt you deeply, or maybe it's a series of people who contributed to the toxic beliefs you hold. But before you can forgive outwardly, you have to forgive yourself. This is often the most difficult step, because internal voices judge relentlessly, holding on to guilt, shame, and blame. Remember, you did the best you could with the tools you had at that moment. You survived. Forgive yourself for what you thought you should have done differently, because self-compassion is the soil in which true healing grows. Radical forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a daily return to grace. There will be days when the pain feels fresh and the temptation to lash out or retreat back into bitterness is strong. On those days, forgive yourself for struggling, forgive the situation for its complexity, and forgive the process for its time. Stories of radical forgiveness are stories of transformation. Take the example of a woman who carried decades of resentment toward a parent who had been harsh and unavailable. She believed this resentment was her armor, protecting her from further pain. But it was also a prison. Through the practice of forgiveness, acknowledging the hurt, expressing her emotions honestly, and then consciously choosing release, she found freedom. Forgiveness didn't change the past, but it reshaped her future. It allowed her to love herself more deeply and open fully to others. This journey requires courage to feel your pain without flinching. Forgiveness asks you to confront uncomfortable emotions, anger, grief, betrayal, not to silence or suppress them, but to witness and honor them. By doing so, you invite those emotions to move through you rather than harden into barriers. In practice, radical forgiveness can be cultivated through reflection, meditation, or conversation with trusted allies. You might write letters of forgiveness, not necessarily to send, but to express your truth and begin the release. You might speak aloud affirmations of forgiveness, or sit quietly breathing into the intention to let go. Forgiveness is not a surrender to weakness, but an assertion of strength. It is choosing peace in a world that often celebrates vengeance and blame. Radical forgiveness honors your pain and your resilience. It offers a path where you do not have to carry the weight of toxic self-judgment or past wounds one step longer than necessary. Consider this. Every moment you choose forgiveness, you weaken the toxic voice inside that tells you to hold on to shame, to replay old stories that bind you. You create cracks where light can enter, and a new narrative can grow, one of healing, love, and acceptance. This chapter calls you to embrace forgiveness, not as an abstract ideal, but as a practical, transformative choice. It invites you to practice radical self-love through radical forgiveness, letting go of bitterness and opening your heart to compassion. As you journey deeper, remember forgiveness is a gift, most of all to yourself. It is the water that cleanses, the air that frees your lungs, and the sunlight that nurtures the seeds of your true self. The path ahead moves from healing your heart to building your sanctuary, the inner space where you feel safe cherished, and whole. The next chapter will guide you in creating this sanctuary within, where the voice of self-love grows strong and steady. Take a deep breath now, and carry this truth with you. Forgiveness is your revolution. It is the radical act that breaks the cycle of pain and opens the door to genuine self-love. Turn the page and step into the sanctuary of your soul, where healing becomes home. Chapter 8. Creating a sanctuary within. Imagine a place where you feel utterly safe. A sanctuary untouched by judgment or fear. A refuge where your soul can breathe freely. This sanctuary is not a distant dream or a hidden temple beyond reach. It lives inside you, waiting patiently to be built, nurtured, and claimed as your own. Creating a sanctuary within is the sacred art of tending your inner world so that self-love can grow wild, free, and unshakable. This chapter is a gentle invitation to design this sanctuary, not as a physical structure but as a living space in your mind and heart where peace, compassion, and strength dwell together. It is a place you can visit any time, a refuge from the storms of toxic self-talk, harsh judgment, and relentless doubt. Think about the ways you prepare for safety in your outer life. A locked door, a comforting home, a trusted friend nearby. Now imagine bringing that same care and intention inward, crafting an inner haven where you are nourished and protected. This sanctuary becomes your foundation, your inner home from which all healing flows. Creating this sanctuary starts with simple, loving rituals. Begin by cultivating moments of stillness, pauses in your day where you close your eyes, breathe deeply, and simply exist without expectation or pressure. These invitations to presence are the doorways into your sanctuary, moments where you reconnect with yourself, beyond thoughts and worries. Within this space, kindness becomes your constant companion. Speak to yourself with the warmth you would offer a dear friend. Replace harsh internal critiques with gentle encouragement. When anxiety or shame appears, welcome these feelings as visitors, honoring their presence without letting them take residence. Imagine planting seeds of compassion deep in this sanctuary's soil. These seeds are the small acts you do for yourself, celebrating a success, acknowledging an effort, allowing grace for a mistake. Over time, these daily acts create a lush garden of self-love that blossoms even in difficult seasons. Your sanctuary also thrives on boundaries, clear, respectful limits that protect your peace. Saying no when something drains you, choosing rest over relentless work, refusing toxic interactions that dim your light. Boundaries are the walls and gates of your sanctuary, carefully placed to guard your well-being without isolating your heart. One powerful practice to build this sanctuary is mindfulness, from paying attention to your breath, to noticing sensations in your body, to observing thoughts without judgment. Mindfulness anchors you in the present moment, the only place where true safety and love live. It quiets the noisy inner critic and invites you to rest in your true self. As you nurture this inner sanctuary, notice the gentle shifts in your life. You begin to carry a calm confidence, a resilience that buffers you from external chaos and internal storms. You learn to respond to life's challenges with steady grace rather than reactive fear. This sanctuary is not perfection, it is deeply human. It includes your shadows as well as your light. It embraces the fullness of your experience without needing to fix or change it. It is a place where you can be authentically you, with all your complexities held in loving presence. Consider the metaphor of a tree rooted firmly in the earth. Your sanctuary is the soil and roots, the foundation that holds you steady through winds of doubt and storms of negativity. When grounded here, you draw nourishment from your own love and wisdom, growing stronger and more vibrant each day. The beauty of creating this sanctuary is that it belongs entirely to you. No one can take it away. It is your birthright. As you practice entering this space, you reclaim your power to nurture and protect yourself, to choose love over fear, and to stand firm in your worth. This chapter's journey is one of daily devotion, small acts, steady practice, and unwavering commitment to treat yourself with the reverence you deserve. It invites you to come home to yourself again and again, building an inner refuge that no external circumstance can shake. As this chapter closes, hold this truth close. Your sanctuary within is the heart of lasting self-love. It is where healing begins anew each day and where your true strength is born. The next chapter will invite you to step fully into this strength by embracing your flawed, fierce self, the unique and beautiful person you are, exactly as you are. You will learn that self-love is not about perfection, but about courageous acceptance of your whole being. Turn the page gently and step deeper into the sanctuary of your soul, ready to meet yourself with boldness and grace. Chapter 9. Embracing your flawed, fierce self. Look deeply into the mirror of your soul and see not a perfect image, but a glorious tapestry woven from every triumph, every scar, every shadow and light. This is the person you are, flawed, fierce, fragile, and full of undeniable beauty. To love yourself is not to erase imperfections, but to celebrate them, to stand boldly in your full humanity with courage and grace. This chapter is an urgent call to embrace your whole self, the messy, wild, and authentic you that society, fear, and even your own mind have tried to shrink or silence. It is a radical invitation to stop fighting your imperfections and begin welcoming them as the very essence of your strength and uniqueness. Think about the way nature embraces imperfection. A twisted tree branches wide in unexpected directions. Its bark, rough and scarred from storms, survived. Yet it stands tall, living proof that flaw and resilience grow side by side. So it is with you. Your flaws often carry your fiercest power. The wounds you thought made you weak have tempered your spirit. The fears you tried to hide have sharpened your sensitivity and depth. The mistakes you regret are chapters of a story rich with learning and transformation. This may feel uncomfortable at first. You might resist, thinking, how can I love these parts of me that feel broken or unworthy? But real self-love is not escapism. It is reckoning. It is saying yes to your full truth with open arms. This acceptance is fiercely courageous because it requires vulnerability, honesty, and sometimes grief. It means looking at parts of yourself you've pushed away, shame, doubt, insecurity, and offering them compassion instead of condemnation. Imagine embracing your imperfections like old friends, messy, complicated, but deeply beloved. When you stop battling yourself, you stop exhausting your energy on self-judgment. Instead, you free that energy to nourish your growth, joy, and connection. A powerful way to practice this embrace is through storytelling, telling your story not as a tale of failure, but as a testament to resilience. Reframe your narrative. I am courage in the face of struggle. I am wisdom born from experience. I am deeply human and wonderfully whole. Embracing your fierce self also means shedding false masks. The personas you've worn to protect yourself, but that no longer serve you. Perhaps you wore the mask of the perfectionist, the people-pleaser, the invincible one. Now, you are invited to lay down these heavy disguises and step into your authentic presence. When you honor your flawed self, you send a powerful message to the world. You are enough as you are. This message ripples outward, inviting others to accept you fully and inspiring them to embrace their own imperfections. This transformation fosters radical self-compassion, the kind that whispers gently in your darkest moments. You are worthy of love, no matter what. It softens the harsh internal critics and builds a foundation where self-love can thrive, steady and true. Remember, perfection was never the goal. Perfectionism suffocates, but vulnerability breathes life. Your true strength lies in the courage to be seen, to be real, and to be deeply and unapologetically you. As this chapter draws to a close, carry with you this profound truth: your flaws are not your enemies. They are the brushstrokes that paint your unique masterpiece. To embrace your flawed, fierce self is to step fully into your power and to unlock the door to unconditional love. The journey forward leads to living loved, embodying this self-love in every breath, thought, and action. The next chapter will illuminate what it means to live from this place of genuine worthiness, free from the chains of toxicity. Turn the page now and step boldly into the new world you are creating. A life lived, loved, fiercely and freely. Chapter 10. Living Loved, the New You. Step into a morning where you wake, not to doubt but to assurance. A morning where the mirror reflects not criticism but a face softened by acceptance and pride. This is the new you, the lover of your own soul, freed from the toxic chains that once bound your heart from within. Living loved is not a fantasy or a reward reserved for perfect people. It is your birthright, your natural state, waiting patiently beneath the layers of old pain and fear. This chapter opens with an invitation to embody the transformation you've been cultivating, the radiance of self-love in every corner of your being. It is the dawn, where the silent poison is replaced by a vibrant, unstoppable force, the deep, unwavering love you hold for yourself. Living loved means your worth is no longer dictated by achievements, approval, or circumstances. It means you stop chasing validation outside and begin to witness your own brilliance. You feel the effortless peace that comes when you no longer fuel the storm of self-judgment, but instead nurture the calm within. Imagine walking through your day with a heart that beats steady and sure, regardless of external chaos. Challenges arise, as they always will, but you meet them from a place of strength, not scarcity. The voice inside whispers encouragement. You are enough. You have what you need. This voice is your truest companion, the echo of every healing step you have taken. Living loved transforms your relationships too. When you love yourself deeply, the way you connect with others changes. You set boundaries with kindness, invite vulnerability with courage, and receive love without fear or pretense. Your presence becomes a beacon, authentic, radiant, magnetic. But understand this: living loved is not a destination. It is a continuous dance with yourself. Some days the shadow of old toxic voices may appear, tempting you to doubt. On those days, recall how far you have come. Remember the wisdom of your journey, the moments of radical forgiveness, the sanctuary you created within, the fierce embrace of your flawed self. Every choice you make now reflects this profound shift. You choose words that build, actions that honor, and thoughts that uplift. You reclaim your power not by ignoring past wounds, but by holding them gently and walking forward anyway. Consider the ripple effect of living loved. Your presence softens the world around you. Your example whispers to others that they, too, can shatter their chains. Your love becomes a quiet revolution, transforming families, friendships, communities. So live loved with intention and tenderness, knowing this love begins and ends with you. It is the kind wildfire that burns away toxicity and leaves fertile soil for joy and peace. Now, as this chapter and this journey draws to a close, carry with you a sacred truth. You do not have to earn love. You simply are love. In every breath, every heartbeat, you embody the profound beauty of self-acceptance. This audiobook has been your companion on the path from silence and shadow to clarity and light. The gift you carry forward is not just knowledge but transformation, the power to live from a place of unconditional love. Take a moment now to breathe deeply, feel the fullness of your being, and smile gently at the reflection that greets you. You are loved. You are enough. You are whole. The next step is yours to choose. May it be filled with courage, grace, and endless love. Chapter 11. The courage to keep growing. Growth demands courage. It asks you to step into unknown territory, to face shadows without retreating, and to embrace change as a constant companion. If you have made it this far on your journey toward self-love, know this: what you have begun is one of the most courageous acts of all. But the journey does not end. It unfolds endlessly, like a river that flows strong and deep, carving new paths with every breath you take. This chapter is a call to courage, the quiet, persistent bravery that keeps you moving forward when old doubts rise, when fear tempts you to return to familiar patterns. It is the courage to say yes, again and again, to your worthiness and your power, even when the world feels uncertain or harsh. Imagine a vast horizon stretched before you, endless and inviting. Behind you lies the familiar terrain of old selves and toxic voices. But ahead glimmers the promise of growth, transformation, and self-discovery. The path is not always clear, nor is it always easy, but it is yours to walk. Courage to keep growing means embracing vulnerability, the willingness to be seen fully, flaws and all. It means opening your heart to the unknown, trusting in your capacity to adapt, to heal, to rise. It entails moments when you stumble and fall, yet choose to rise anyway, each time stronger, wiser, more tender with yourself. This courage is not loud. It does not always roar. Often, it whispers in the quiet moments, when you say to yourself, "I will try again," or "I deserve kindness." It lives in the breath you take before speaking your truth, the boundary you set to protect your peace, the small act of self-care that says, "I am worth it." Remember the times in your life when you surprised yourself, when you faced fear and moved forward despite everything. Those moments reveal a wellspring of bravery inside you, waiting to be claimed as your birthright. This wellspring is deep, limitless, and uniquely yours. Growth also calls for patience. It asks you to honor each stage of your journey, no matter how small or slow it feels. Progress isn't always linear. Sometimes you circle back, revisit old wounds, or confront new ones. Patience is the steady hand that guides you through these cycles, reminding you that healing unfolds in its own time. Along this path, celebrate your milestones, each moment of insight, each choice made from love rather than fear. These victories, no matter how subtle, are the footprints of your courage etched along the road of transformation. Cultivating courage means surrounding yourself with support, people, practices, and environments that encourage your growth. Seek relationships that honor your journey, mentors who inspire you, and spaces that nourish your spirit. Remember, you are never truly alone, even in the most solitary moments. This chapter invites you to cultivate a mindset of lifelong learning, not just about the world, but about yourself. Embrace curiosity about your fears, your desires, and your evolving self. When you meet yourself with gentle inquiry instead of harsh judgment, you open doors to deeper understanding and freedom. Consider the metaphor of a garden once again. Growth requires sunlight, water, and the willingness to weather storms. Your courage is the gardener's hand, steady, patient and loving, tending the delicate shoots of change until they bloom. As you step forward from this chapter, carry this profound truth. Courage is the engine of transformation. It is what fuels your journey from the shadows of toxic self-belief into the light of unconditional self-love. The next step awaits you, a life lived fully, bravely, and with open heart. This journey is not about reaching a final destination, but about dancing with your own becoming, eternally unfolding and endlessly beautiful. Turn the page now with boldness in your heart and curiosity in your soul. The greatest adventure lies ahead. Chapter 12. The Unending Journey of Self-Love. The journey of self-love is not a path with a final destination. It is an unending dance, a continuous unfolding of discovery, healing, and transformation. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, its depths mysterious, its waves ever-changing. So too is the ocean of your soul, boundless, dynamic, alive with endless possibility. This chapter is both a celebration and an invitation, a celebration of all you have courageously faced, and a tender invitation to honor that self-love is a lifelong companion, not a fleeting achievement. As you listen now, feel the immense power you carry, the power to love yourself through every season of your life. There will be joyous arrivals, yes, but also moments when the tide pulls you back, when woe fears resurface, or new challenges arise. This is natural. Self-love is not a shield that blocks pain, but a lighthouse that guides you safely through storms. The foundation you have built, awareness, forgiveness, courage, compassion, is your anchor. It steadies you as you navigate the waves. When toxic self-beliefs attempt to resurface, you greet them with calm recognition, knowing you have the tools to meet them and release their hold. Embrace this truth. Every day offers a new chance to choose yourself anew. No matter where you have been or what fears linger, the choice to love yourself is always within reach. It is a radical act of bravery and grace that ripples through every corner of your life. Visualize your life as a garden that never stops growing. Some seasons bring blossoms, others bring quiet rest. You tend this garden with patience and devotion, knowing that growth and healing are processes, not events. Sometimes you prune harshly, sometimes you water gently. You adapt to what your soul needs, always honoring its rhythm. Your self-love journey also invites you to extend this compassion outward, to the world, to others, to the life you live. As you deepen your relationship with yourself, you find your capacity to love others expands. You become a beacon, radiating the truth that every soul deserves dignity, kindness, and grace. Yet, even as you shine, remember to care for your own inner flame. Burnout and overwhelm can dim your light. The unending journey requires you to pause, to rest, and to replenish. Self-love includes knowing when to slow down, when to say no, and when to nourish your spirit with kindness and stillness. Continuing this path means embracing curiosity about your evolving self. New facets will emerge, new wounds may surface, and new joys will bloom. Each phase offers lessons, each challenge an opportunity to deepen your love. Know that you are never alone in this unfolding. Across time and space, countless souls walk similar roads, carrying the same longing for belonging and peace. Your courage to love yourself creates ripples far beyond what you can see, touching lives, healing collective wounds, and adding to the chorus of humanity's awakening. As this chapter draws to a close, let yourself feel deep gratitude for your resilience, your growth, and your commitment. You have embarked on a journey that transforms not only your relationship with yourself, but the very fabric of your life. Carry with you this promise. Self-love is not a destination to reach, but an ocean to swim in. A vast, profound, endless embrace. Each day, each breath, each moment offers the chance to dive deeper, to love more fiercely, to live more fully. The journey continues, richer and more beautiful, with every step. Turn the page now, not to end your story, but to begin again, inviting new discoveries, greater love, and the infinite unfolding of the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. Chapter 13. The Power of Now. Living self-love in the present moment. The present moment is the gift you've been seeking all along, a doorway not to somewhere else, but to here, to now. Imagine the rush of river water flowing past your feet, relentless and alive, never clinging to the past or rushing into the future. This river is time itself, and within its flow lies a secret power. Living fully in the present invites the deepest love for yourself to bloom. This chapter is a call to awaken to the sacredness of now, the only time over which you truly have control. It's about releasing the chains of regret and worry that have kept your heart chained to toxic self-belief, and stepping into a timeless space where self-love is immediate, accessible, and transformative. Pause for a moment and let your awareness settle on the present breath, the cool air entering your lungs, the warmth leaving your body. This breath is the anchor that reunites you with your essence, the constant thread weaving through every doubt, every fear, every revelation. It is here, intertwined with this very breath, that self-love begins again, anew, each time. The power of now means refusing to let yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's anxieties dictate how you treat yourself today. Toxic thoughts often flourish in regrets about what could have been or fears of what might come. But these shadows lose their grip when you bring gentle attention to this exact moment. Living self-love in the present also means embracing everything you are feeling, without judgment, without resistance. Joy and sorrow, hope and pain, confidence and fragility, all coexist in this rich human experience. When you hold these feelings in open palms, you tell your soul, all of you is welcome here. This acceptance creates space for healing because it breaks the pattern of fighting against your own reality. It softens the harsh voice of self-criticism and invites a tender presence that listens, understands, and comforts. Imagine a garden thriving, not because it controls the weather, but because it responds gracefully to each new season. So, it is with your self-love. The more you practice being here, now, the more you cultivate resilience, the ability to stand rooted through life's unpredictable currents. Mindfulness practices, such as observing your thoughts without attachment, savoring moments of stillness, or simply being aware of your sensations, become powerful tools to reconnect with the now. They remind you that you are not your toxic thoughts. You are the presence that witnesses them. In this presence, you find a wellspring of compassion and strength. You learn to pause before reacting to negative self-talk. You catch yourself in the moment toxic beliefs surface, and instead of surrendering to them, you choose kindness, patience, and truth. Living self-love in the present also transforms your relationships. When you are fully present with yourself, you bring that same presence to others, listening deeply, responding authentically, loving without expectation. Your connectedness grows richer, deeper, more genuine. But this chapter also acknowledges the challenges. The mind often lingers in the past or flutters anxiously toward the future. Returning to now requires practice and persistence. There will be distractions and doubts, yet each gentle return to the present is a beautiful act of self-love, a reclaiming of your power and peace. Let yourself feel how grounding it is to be fully here, to feel your feet on the earth, your breath in your body, your heart beating steadily. This is your home and the home of love. As this chapter closes, carry with you this profound invitation. Life is happening now, and self-love is happening now. They are inseparable. To love yourself is to live fully in this moment, with all its humanness and wonder. The journey continues beyond this page, lived moment by moment, breath by breath, choice by choice. Turn to the next chapter with open eyes, ready to embody your love and walk your path with newfound presence and grace. Chapter 14. Cultivating Compassion, the Heart of Self-Love. Imagine a gentle hand reaching out to your weary heart, soothing the aches you've long carried alone. Compassion is that hand, the embrace that welcomes you, not as a fragile fault to be fixed, but as a beloved human worthy of tenderness and understanding. This chapter opens into the sacred space of compassion, the very heart of self-love, and the wellspring from which lasting healing flows. The journey you have undertaken so far has uncovered many truths. The silent poisons, the roots of toxic self-belief, the lie of perfection, and the power of forgiveness. But at the core of enduring transformation lies compassion, compassion for ourselves and for the imperfections woven into the fabric of being human. Cultivating compassion is more than kind words. It is an active, deliberate choice to lean toward your own suffering with warmth and curiosity. It's the voice inside that says, "I see you, I feel you, you are not alone." It invites you to slow down, breathe deep, and be fully present to yourself, not as a taskmaster, but as a loving companion. Picture compassion as a garden that you tend daily, planting seeds of patience, understanding, and forgiveness. These seeds grow into flowers of kindness and resilience, creating an inner landscape where self-love can root deeply and flourish beautifully. This practice begins with awareness, catching when your inner voice turns harsh, impatient, or critical. Notice those moments without harsh judgment. Instead, gently intervene with compassion. For example, when a thought arises like "I'm not good enough," respond softly, "I am doing my best, and that is enough." Cultivating compassion also means honoring your emotions, even the difficult ones: fear, sadness, anger. These feelings carry messages from the heart and soul, beckoning for attention and care. Instead of pushing them away, invite them in. Listen, as a friend would, offering comfort without trying to fix or suppress. Real-life stories illustrate this beautifully. Consider the healing journey of a man who battled relentless self-criticism all his life. When he began practicing compassion, treating himself as he would a cherished child, his harsh inner dialogue softened. His pain didn't vanish overnight, but a new tenderness replaced the war inside. This shift opened doors to deep self-acceptance and joy he never thought possible. Compassion also frees you from the toxic spiral of comparison and judgment. The more you embrace your own humanity with kindness, the easier it becomes to extend that same grace to others, and that creates a ripple effect of healing and connection in your world. Mindfulness, meditation, journaling, and loving kindness practices are powerful tools to nurture compassion. Through these, you build a strong foundation of gentle presence that can hold even the most challenging emotions with care. But cultivating compassion is not always easy. There will be days when self-doubt and old wounds resurface fiercely. On those days, return to compassion again and again, patient, unwavering, like the tide that steadily shapes the shore. The beauty of compassion is that it meets you exactly where you are. It does not demand perfection or quick fixes. It celebrates every small step forward, every breath of self-kindness, every moment of grace extended inward. As this chapter ends, carry this sacred invitation in your heart. Cultivate compassion as the soil for self-love. Let it nourish your spirit, heal your wounds, and embolden your courage to continue this journey with open arms. The next chapter will guide you in embodying this compassion in your daily life, turning inner love into outward action, a life lived with intention, kindness, and vibrant connection. Turn the page gently and step forward into the radiant heart space that welcomes you home to yourself. Chapter 15, Your Commitment to Yourself. The journey continues. From the very first breath you took listening to this journey, a seed was planted, a seed of hope, courage, and the possibility of love greater than you ever imagined. Now, as you stand here, on the threshold of the next chapter of your life, the greatest gift you can give yourself is a commitment, a vow to nurture that seed with unwavering devotion. This chapter is about ownership, claiming your journey fully, embracing the ongoing dance of self-love with honesty and grace. It is a call to recognize that transformation is not a moment, but a lifelong commitment. Not a destination, but a living, breathing journey. Imagine yourself as a gardener tending a precious garden. Some days the sun is bright and the garden blooms freely. Other days the storms rage and the soil feels heavy. Your commitment is the steady hand, the daily tending, the patient care, the loving presence that guides growth through every season. This commitment means choosing yourself again when old habits whisper doubts. It means rising after setbacks, forgiving yourself when you stumble, and celebrating even the smallest victories. It demands courage to say no to what diminishes you and yes to what feeds your soul. Taking responsibility for your self-love journey is not about pressure or perfection. It is about respect, deep respect for your own worth and the life you are creating. It means honoring your needs, listening to your inner voice, and making choices aligned with your highest good. Real commitment also requires community, surrounding yourself with support that sustains and inspires you. Seek those who encourage your growth, who see and honor your authentic self. Share your journey with others, not in pursuit of validation, but as an act of connection and mutual empowerment. This chapter invites reflection. What does commitment to yourself look like today? What daily rituals, boundaries, or mindset shifts can you embrace to deepen your love and care? What courage will you summon to step into your power more fully? Stories of transformation remind us that commitment is the bridge between dreams and reality. Consider the countless individuals who, despite fear and hardship, chose themselves moment by moment, weaving threads of resilience that became tapestries of healing. Your life is your masterpiece, and you are the artist with the power to shape each stroke. Commit to painting with bold colors, authenticity, kindness, patience, and courage. This commitment honors both your imperfections and your infinite potential. As this chapter nears its close, breathe deeply into the truth that this commitment is a gift that grows richer with time. It is the foundation upon which happiness, peace, and self-love stand firm and unshakable. Carry this promise in your heart. You are worthy of the time, love, and care you offer yourself. Your journey is sacred, ongoing, and profoundly beautiful. The audiobook may conclude here, but your story shines on, ever unfolding, ever becoming, ever loved. Step forward now with open heart and steady feet, embracing your commitment to yourself and the magnificent journey ahead.